I'm here in central Kansas. I'm really interested in Kansas history because Kansas is my home state. But we're here today to work on our pronunciation. Hi everyone, it's Lynn here with another episode of Just a Bite of Pronunciation. And I'm here today in central Kansas, which is right in the middle of the continental United States. Right behind me is a monument to Fray Juan Padilla, who was a missionary who came to this area along with Francisco Coronado, who was a Spanish explorer in the year 1541. To put this into perspective, Cortez came to Mexico in 1519 and Pizarro came to Peru in 1532. So this was barely 8 years after that, after Pizarro came to Peru, that a Spanish explorer came to this area of Kansas. So why am I out here on this cold Kansas, windy winter day talking about pronunciation and Juan Padilla? That's because a lot of words that you already know, or words that are similar with words that you know, can be really helpful with your pronunciation in English. So first we're going to practice some individual words, and then we're going to practice some longer sentences so that we can also work on intonation in English. It's pretty cold out here. I think I'll move to a different place so that we can work on those more easily. Okay, we're finally out of that cold wind. Now we can work on some pronunciation. Although some of these words may look familiar to you, and maybe even our Spanish words, remember we're pronouncing them in English with English sounds. That way you get used to hearing English sounds that we use every day, all the time in English. Now, let's start with that explorer himself. Francisco Coronado. Francisco Coronado. So we'll start with Fran, like in apple. Si, sis, like in fish. Francisco. Remember in English, when we make O, our mouth forms an oo at the end. Oh. That's a little different. So we've got Francisco. Coronado. Cor, like in or. Cora, Remember, is one of the most common sounds in English. Cora. Now, nado. Remember in English, d. We hit our tongue on our palate to make that sound. So we've got Coronado. Francisco Coronado. And now Juan Padilla. Juan, in English, Juan, almost a W sound. Juan, not too different than one, like the number one. Juan. And Padilla. Again, that sound. So that's how we're going to pronounce it, with that weak vowel sound at the beginning. Padilla. Juan Padilla. Juan Padilla was a missionary. Mission. A mission. In the word mission, the double S is pronounced like sh, like in should and wish. So we've got mission, only 2 syllables. Mission. The ION in English is always just 1 syllable. Yun, mission. Let's practice some other words that end in ION in English. Relation. Notice there that our stress is on the A that comes before the ending shun. Relation. In English, we never put the stress on the yun like in other languages. In most cases, the stress comes on the syllable before, like in relation, relation, expedition, expedition. Okay, notice here we've got X, that second syllable, we've got weak, so we've got p, that sound, very relaxed, exp, and our stress is on the d, and remember in English it's d, like in fish, expedition, expedition. All right, are you ready to practice some complete sentences? Let's do it. In 1541, Coronado made an expedition to Kansas. In 1541, Coronado made an expedition to Kansas. Notice again the Kansas, Kansas, expedition to Kansas. Padilla accompanied Coronado on the journey. Padilla accompanied Coronado on the journey. Coronado had good relations with the natives. Coronado had good relations with the natives. Okay, we're going to do a couple more sentences, but this time remember to really pay attention to the intonation as well as the pronunciation of the individual words. Remember in English, the intonation of most statements starts at the beginning kind of low and then climbs and goes back down. Something like a roller coaster. Coronado's expedition discovered no riches. So up and back down. Coronado's expedition discovered no riches. In 1542, Padilla returned on a religious mission. Up and back down. In 1542, Padilla returned on a religious mission. Here's a sad one. When Padilla tried to move his mission, he was killed. When Padilla tried to move his mission, he was killed. This monument honors Padilla. This monument honors Padilla. Monument. Monument. This monument honors Padilla. This monument honors Padilla. Well, everybody, I hope you've liked this little bit of history as a way to improve your pronunciation. If you like this video, I hope you can give it a like down below. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can do that down below as well. Thank you all so much for watching. See you soon. Nos vemos.